riot. That riot left 7 inmates dead, 22 others hurt. Green's facing multiple charges, including murder, assault and battery by a mob, and weapons charges. Opening statements began yesterday. The state argues Green was a part of the group of inmates that killed another inmate, Cornelius McCleary. Prosecutors shared video evidence of the brutal, which investigators say was fueled by gang rivalry within the prison.
This is how we do it in here.
Baby mama's tripping, but she watching though, and she loving me though. She can talk all that she won't.
State leaders who saw the clip say it's dangerous and threatens security.
Columbia's Kirkland Correctional Institution. These 4 incarcerated men found strangled in a prison cell on Friday. Arrest warrants reveal the men were lured into a cell before they were strangled with electrical cords. 2 men found beaten and stabbed with a broken broomstick.
Perry Correctional in Pelzer is on lockdown this morning. State Senator Carl Allen tells her sister station, WSBA, that 10 inmates refused a command to return to their cells Friday. He says they also remained defiant Saturday.
South Carolina Department of Corrections 33-year-old David Viron Garrett died after a small fire in his
Guards were sent to the hospital after SWAT teams came in and rescued them and 4 others from a riot here at this South Carolina prison. The incident occurred at the Trenton Correctional Institute, nearly 70 miles southwest of Columbia.
South Carolina's prison system has faced a wave of escalating violence and security breakdowns in recent years. Chronic overcrowding, understaffing, and entrenched gang activity have fueled deadly clashes inside its maximum security facilities. The most notorious incident came in 2018 at Lee Correctional Institution in Bishopville, when inmates armed with homemade knives battled for hours in a riot that left 7 dead, the deadliest prison uprising in 25 years. Since then, multiple state prisons have earned a reputation as among the most dangerous in South Carolina, plagued by inmate-on-inmate attacks, contraband cell phones, and even assaults on staff. The sections that follow examine several of these facilities, their most serious incidents, and the state's attempts at reform.
Will continue today for a man charged in connection to the deadliest prison riot in South Carolina history. Stephen Green's the 2nd inmate to go to trial for his alleged role in the 2018 Lee Correctional Prison riot. That riot left 7 inmates dead, 22 others hurt. Green's facing multiple charges, including murder, assault and battery by a mob, and weapons charges. Opening statements began yesterday. The state argues Green was a part of the group of inmates that killed another inmate, Cornelius McCleary. Prosecutors shared video evidence of the brutal, which investigators say was fueled by gang rivalry within the prison. Authorities believe Green and McCleary were members of rival gangs. The defense fought back, saying there's no physical evidence that connects Green to the crime. Witness testimony is happening today.
All right, thank you, Tony. New at noon, 2 more inmates, Kamara Jordan and David Dozier, have entered guilty pleas for their charges in connection to the deadliest prison riot in South Carolina history. Dozier pleaded guilty to possession of a weapon and was sentenced to 3 consecutive years of imprisonment. Jordan pleaded guilty to possession of contraband and was sentenced to 2 years. We're also seeing new developments from another inmate facing charges. According to South Carolina Department of Corrections, Joshua Phillips is facing 3 counts of mob violence resulting in death.
Eric, thanks. New tonight, an inmate died at the Lee Correctional Institution in Bishopville on Thursday. That, according to the South Carolina Department of Corrections. In a release, SCDC says that 46-year-old Max Naughton was found unresponsive in his cell on Thursday night. He did not have a cellmate, his death being investigated as a suspected suicide, SCDC says.
And new tonight at 11, an inmate at Lee Correctional in Bishopville has died this evening after being stabbed during a fight with other inmates. That inmate that has died is identified as 41-year-old Marco Sanders. 2 other inmates were taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries, while a 4th inmate was treated for minor wounds.
Lee Correctional Institution, located in Bishopville, South Carolina, is often described as the state's most dangerous prison. Opened in 1993, the maximum security facility was built to hold more than 1,500 inmates, many serving long sentences for violent crimes. Unlike some older prisons, Lee has no gun towers and relatively few security cameras, a design that has drawn heavy criticism in light of its violent history. Over the last decade, Lee has become notorious for deadly riots, fights, and hostage situations, fueled largely by gang rivalries and contraband cell phones. The most infamous incident occurred in April 2018, when a dispute between gangs over prison territory and smuggled phones exploded into chaos. The riot raged for 7 hours as inmates armed with makeshift knives stabbed, slashed, and beat rivals. Bodies were stacked in dormitories by the time the violence ended. 7 prisoners were killed and 22 more were injured, making it one of the deadliest prison riots in modern U.S. history. No guards were harmed, but the scale of the violence shocked the nation. In its aftermath, South Carolina's governor approved millions of dollars for security upgrades. Investigations revealed that chronic staff shortages had left dorms nearly unsupervised. Court filings alleged that officials knew about broken cell door locks, overcrowding, and a lack of staffing but failed to address them. In some dorms, a single officer was responsible for monitoring more than 100 inmates, leaving prisoners largely free to enforce their own rules. Contraband cell phones made the problem worse, allowing gang members to coordinate attacks in real time. Since the riot, prison authorities have attempted reforms. They installed new cell door locking hardware, added perimeter nets to prevent contraband drops, deployed phone detection technology, and even brought in drone surveillance to monitor smuggling attempts. Still, challenges persist. A 2024 state audit found that despite $1 million spent on upgraded locks, overcrowding and cell phone use remain ongoing problems, with legal restrictions on cell phone signal jamming making it nearly impossible to cut off gang communications entirely. Today, Lee Correctional remains a tinderbox of violence, where rival gangs such as the Bloods, Crips, and Gangster Disciples battle for influence and control. Attorneys representing inmates continue to warn that without deeper reforms, the prison's volatile mix of gang rivalries, contraband, and understaffing could lead to more bloodshed in the future.
Investigators say Zaire Nathaniel Lopez is charged with possession of marijuana with intent to distribute, providing contraband to prisoners, criminal conspiracy, and misconduct in office. The Department of Corrections says charges relate to him bringing marijuana, tobacco, and rolling papers into Broad River, hidden in a food container, then leaving it in a trash bag in an inmate living area.
A nursing supervisor for Broad River Correctional Institution has been arrested for providing an inmate contraband. According to the South Carolina Department of Corrections, 29-year-old Deandra Frierson was arrested and fired today. She's accused of taking a cell phone into an inmate.
Corrections officer has been stabbed at Broad River Correctional Institute in Columbia. The Department of Corrections says several inmates attacked the officer. He was taken to an outside hospital, is expected to be okay.
Says 52-year-old Isaac Stark was found unresponsive in his cell yesterday at the Broad River Correctional Institution. SLED is working with the prisoners, the prison system that is, to see how he died, but online records show that he had been serving time following a conviction on child sex crimes.
Broad River Correctional Institution, a maximum security prison in Columbia, South Carolina, has long carried a reputation for violence. In 2024, that reputation was reinforced by 2 especially brutal inmate-on-inmate assaults that left their victims with life-threatening injuries. The first incident occurred in April 2024, when 4 inmates allegedly cornered and attacked another prisoner inside the facility. Prosecutors say the group pushed, punched, kicked, and slammed the man onto the concrete floor before beating him with a broomstick. The assault left the victim with catastrophic injuries, including a fractured jaw, a brain hemorrhage, and a collapsed lung. Just months later, Broad River was the scene of another vicious attack. In this case, an inmate allegedly slammed a fellow prisoner's head into a steel door and then gouged at his face with a piece of tile. The victim suffered severe trauma, including critical head and lung injuries, and required emergency medical attention. These back-to-back assaults highlight the ongoing dangers inside Broad River, where mob-style violence can erupt suddenly and with devastating consequences. In 2024 alone, 2 inmates were left fighting for their lives after savage beatings, underscoring the persistent volatility and intensity of prisoner conflicts within the walls of one of South Carolina's most notorious prisons.
These 4 incarcerated men found strangled in a prison cell on Friday. Arrest warrants reveal the men were lured into a cell before they were strangled with electrical cords. 2 men found beaten and stabbed with a broken broomstick. On Friday, he admitted to killing the 4 men along with 25-year-old Jacob Phillip.
A correctional officer working at Kirkland Correctional Institution in Columbia has been arrested. He's 25-year-old Dalton Manning. According to warrants, he's charged with attempting to introduce contraband into the prison after he concealed a cell phone and 2 packages of tobacco in his belongings. Investigators say when the contraband items were discovered, Manning abandoned his duty station and fled the facility.
Kirkland Correctional Institution, a medium security prison in Columbia, South Carolina, has developed a grim reputation for violence, marked by a series of high-profile killings and standoffs over the past decade. One of the deadliest incidents occurred in April 2017, when 4 inmates were found strangled to death inside a dorm within just 30 minutes. Investigators later charged 2 other prisoners with carrying out the deletions, an episode that shocked the state and drew national attention to conditions inside Kirkland. Deadly violence at the prison was not unprecedented. In 2015, 2 inmates managed to take 2 corrections staffers hostage for nearly 6 hours. Though the standoff ended without serious injuries, the event underscored the dangers staff face in an environment where homemade weapons and gang tensions are common. Over the years, there have also been multiple reports of prisoners wielding improvised blades, attacking rivals, and even holding guards at knife point. Kirkland's troubling record of cell deletions, hostage situations, and weapon-fueled assaults has cemented its place among South Carolina's most violent prisons. Despite being classified as medium security, the facility's history demonstrates how volatile and deadly life behind its walls can become.
And inmates living it up on social media.
Look, we about to show y'all the rock.
Officials confirming the inmate in the video as Jose Rivera. He's serving 10 years at Evans Correctional Institution for a 2014 burglary conviction.
Baby mama, you know you love me.
The Facebook Live video was posted on Rivera's page August 4th. He's seen flashing a weapon as he gives viewers a live tour of the facility.
You see this? This is how we do it in here.
Baby mama's tripping, but she watching though. And she loving me though. She can talk all that she wants.
State leaders who saw the clip say it's dangerous and threatens security.
State corrections officer facing charges after investigators say she had a relationship with an inmate. The department says that Chanel McClanahan worked at Evans Correctional in Bennettsville. An arrest warrant tonight says a cell phone search found in the inmate's cell showed photos of the officer, some of which contained nudity.
2 correctional officers were stabbed and assaulted by an inmate. The South Carolina Department of Corrections tells us it happened yesterday at the Evans Correctional Institution in Bennettsville. Both officers have been released from a medical facility. The inmate allegedly responsible has been moved to another prison for now.
And on your morning crime tracker with news breaking overnight out of Bennettsville, where 2 correctional officers are expected to be okay after they were stabbed by an inmate. A spokesperson for the Evans Correctional Institute tells us the incident occurred yesterday.
Evans Correctional Institution, a medium security prison in Bennettsville, South Carolina, has faced repeated outbreaks of violence involving both inmates and staff. In 2017, the facility made headlines when inmate Kendrick Hoover was fatally stabbed by another prisoner, underscoring the deadly risks posed by improvised weapons behind bars. Violence at Evans did not stop there. In 2024, prosecutors charged an inmate with assaulting another prisoner using a homemade shank, another reminder of the ever-present danger of inmate conflicts. The prison's reputation for volatility grew further in August 2025, when an inmate suddenly turned on 2 female correctional officers. Armed with a weapon, the prisoner stabbed both guards during the surprise attack. Fortunately, the officers were rushed to a hospital, treated for their wounds, and released the same day with non-life-threatening injuries. These incidents at Evans demonstrate how even a medium security prison can become the site of sudden, violent eruptions not only between inmates, but also directed at correctional staff. The facility's history shows that South Carolina's prison crisis extends well beyond its maximum security institutions.
A former correctional officer in Edgefield County has been convicted on drug and misconduct charges. She's 41-year-old Janine Dunbar. In June of last year, she smuggled drugs into Trenton Correctional for an inmate by hiding them under her
Two
clothes.
guards were sent to the hospital after SWAT teams came in and rescued them and 4 others from a riot here at this South Carolina prison. The incident occurred at the Trenton Correctional Institute, nearly 70 miles southwest of Columbia. Corrections Department spokesman Brian Sterling says the officers were assaulted around midnight by several inmates after looking for a contraband cell phone. This sparked multiple fires, destruction of property in the dorms, and rioting among the prisoners.
Trenton Correctional Institution, a medium security prison in Edgefield County housing roughly 600 inmates, has struggled with disturbances fueled by contraband. In June 2017, the facility erupted into chaos after officers attempted to confiscate a hidden cell phone from an inmate. What began as a routine search escalated quickly. Other prisoners began to rally in defiance, setting fires, trashing dormitories, and forcing 6 correctional officers to barricade themselves inside a dorm for safety. The situation grew so volatile that local SWAT teams were called in to restore order. 2 officers sustained injuries, but were treated and released, while no inmates were reported hurt. The riots served as a stark example of how even a single contraband phone, in an understaffed and tense environment, can ignite large-scale disorder inside a prison. In the aftermath, officials pledged tighter sweeps for cell phones and increased staff training, hoping to prevent similar breakdowns of control in the future.
On 2 separate occasions this week, 2 women were arrested trying to sneak drugs into Lieber Correctional Facility. Deputies say Terry Newman was pulled over by police on her way to the prison early this morning. They say after searching her car, they found more than 1,900 pills, several cell phones, tools, and tobacco products. This just 3 days after another woman actually made it into the facility with marijuana.
Over the weekend, Tammy Lynn Phillips was arrested for trying to sneak 58 grams of marijuana to an inmate. Officials say she was able to get through the front door and into the visitation area.
The Correctional Institute in Ridgeville say an officer is recovering after being assaulted by an inmate this morning. Officials say that officer was assaulted while confiscating a cell phone from an inmate in the rec yard. They tell us the inmate was using weapons to fight to keep the illegal phone.
This morning for a man suspected of throwing contraband over a fence into Lieber Correctional in Ridgeville. State Department of Corrections arrested 2 men in connection to Monday's incident. Officers recovered 3 packages. They say contained 11 cell phones, 200 doses of ecstasy, and nearly 80 packages of tobacco wrappers. New today, a correctional officer at Lieber Prison in Ridgeville is facing charges this morning. According to the arrest warrant, Anthony Mergolo admitted that he brought contraband, including marijuana, into the prison with the intent to sell it.
27-year-old Christopher Lewis Dendy Jr. is charged with blackmail and extortion money laundering, possession of a cell phone by a prisoner, and violating the Computer Crime Act. Warrants provided by the State Department of Corrections said he used a contraband phone to create fake female profiles on a dating app, which he matched with a victim. He is accused of contacting the victim and claiming the female was a minor and threatened him with criminal exploitation charges unless he paid. Dendy was serving a 10-year sentence for voluntary manslaughter, armed robbery, and drug charges.
Officials say that Wilson was stabbed when a fight broke out in one of the prison's common areas. 3 other inmates were injured in that scuffle. The Inspector General is now investigating his death as a homicide.
An investigation is underway after an inmate at the Lieber Correctional Institution died last night. According to officials with the South Carolina Department of Corrections, 33-year-old David Byron Garrett died after a small fire in his cell.
Lieber Correctional Institution, a medium security prison, has faced recurring problems over the years. In July 2016, inmate Ryan Mansfield was strangled to death by his cellmate during a dispute over food. Investigators reported that Mansfield refused to give up portions of his meal, which led to the fatal attack inside their shared cell. More recently, in 2024, Lieber was named alongside Turville and Kershaw prisons in a corruption probe that revealed guards smuggling drugs and cell phones to inmates. 4 people were charged in the scheme, highlighting the persistent issue of contraband entering the facility, combined with periodic fights and assaults. These incidents have kept Lieber under the watch of prison oversight groups.
This was a scene earlier this afternoon when a situation behind bars got out of control.
One of our officers was taken hostage for a period of time. He was subsequently released.
For 5 hours, agents and officers tried to get the situation under control. The Department of Corrections director says there are about 180 inmates living in the dorm where this all happened.
Correctional facilities do pose certain risks, but we're trained for those risks.
The director isn't releasing the name of the officer yet, but says the injuries aren't life-threatening and the officer is being treated at the hospital.
Perry Correctional in Pelzer is on lockdown this morning. State Senator Carl Allen tells her sister station, WSBA, that 10 inmates refused a command to return to their cells Friday. He says they also remained defiant Saturday. The Department of Corrections said that in a statement, the lockdown around was a precaution.
Perry Correctional Institution, a medium security prison, has developed a reputation for violence and high-risk incidents. In April 2016, a corrections officer was taken hostage during a prison disturbance, an event that underscored ongoing safety concerns. Later in the decade, the facility saw multiple escape attempts, including one case where inmates used a handball-sized contraband weapon to overpower a guard before a tactical unit regained control. Though officially classified as medium security, Perry often houses violent offenders transferred from higher security prisons. Its history of riots, escapes, and disturbances has cemented its standing as one of South Carolina's more volatile institutions. South Carolina's prison system has long been under heavy public and legal scrutiny. Prisoners and advocates argue that chronic overcrowding and understaffing fueled by years of budget cuts are at the root of much of the violence. A 2021 ACLU report described the facilities as plagued by horrific conditions of confinement, tied to decades of harsh sentencing laws and underfunding. Investigations have also revealed lax security measures, such as broken cell locks, along with a steady flow of contraband like drugs and cell phones. Following the deadly Lee Correctional riot in 2018, lawmakers approved tens of millions in new funding to modernize security. At Lee, officials showcased a $1 million electronically controlled door lock system, installed perimeter nets, and deployed cell phone detection scanners. In 2024, legislators allocated another $10 million, though far short of the $34 million requested to expand cell phone monitoring technology across multiple prisons. At the same time, the corrections director boosted guard pay in an effort to deter corruption. Even so, a grand jury recently indicted a dozen people, including several corrections officers, for smuggling contraband behind bars. Families of riot victims have also sought accountability in court. Lawsuits filed after the 2018 violence accused prison officials of ignoring dangerous problems, such as overcrowding, broken locks, and inadequate staffing. Data suggests these issues persist. Over a 2-year span, more than 250 inmate assaults required hospitalization, more than double the rate of prior years. Despite reform efforts, watchdog groups warn that South Carolina's prisons remain volatile. As one former official put it, once inmates have cell phones and gangs control the yard, they're not run by our guards, but by criminal networks. While the state has invested in new tools, drones, scanners, and even gunshot detection systems, experts caution that real progress will require reducing inmate populations and addressing the system's core deficiencies. Until then, violence and escapes will continue to cast a shadow over South Carolina's most dangerous prisons.